Kleidi, if you can hear me, are you up for any questions at the end of the film?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Oh, good. 'Cause I know we were supposed to have a chat ages ago, but one thing or another, busy lives and stuff. But we can do it today, can't we?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Lovely stuff. This is the filmmaker of the next student film we're going to watch. There she is. She's just,
Hiya.
she's out and about. Look, she's walking the streets. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes, Kleidi, then I'll stick it on, and then we can have a chat at the end.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
Cool, cool. Oh, no. Yeah.
Yay, I hope you guys will enjoy that.
Can you hear me? Yes, cool. So, Dallas put that was so beautiful. Max put very beautiful indeed. Yeah. Well, dare I ask, is this a personal story? Where does it come from?
Yes, it's definitely a personal story. It's loosely based on my experiences moving abroad for my year abroad to Australia. Um, what was like the best year of my life ended up being one of my mum's is like most difficult. So
Mm.
it was kind of just sharing her experience. I'm not an only child, so it was basically just showing just a unique story from the sense of she felt isolated in her experience of me being away, of being a young mother watching her first child leave the nest per se. So that's where it came from. That's what it was inspired by.
So did you have it try and emphasize the loneliness? I assume then, because obviously it was a very lonely film, and take any
Yes.
short out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like so I wanted to really portray the isolation that she experienced. Of course, she had family, she had friends, but it was a very deeply personal journey that she had to endure with accepting that I wasn't always going to be around, and that eventually your children will grow up and will move on with life, and that kind of discovering what your identity outside of being a mother is now that your children are growing up, and that can be an isolating experience and was for her. So that's how I wanted to portray this story. I also didn't want to complicate it. It's only 5 minutes long, so I didn't want to introduce too many relationships in there that had to be explained, really.
Yeah. And what does Mum think about it when she's seen it? Or what did she think when you said you were going to do it? And did you use her as a research consultant? To say, how lonely were you, Mother? So we can, no, but like, what's her thoughts on it? How did she react to it when you made it and showed her it?
Yeah, so I kind of like had a bit of an interview with her and was like, well, the thing is, when I got back from Australia, I could tell that it'd been a very hard year for her. And it was something that she didn't tell me while I was abroad. Of course, my mother wants you to worry or stress when you're away. So when I got here, it was kind of the first time I realized how much she had struggled. So kind of like discussing that with her when I told her I wanted to make this film, she was just like, she was so happy. She was really proud of me and just willing to have this experience be shown through my point of view to see how I have taken her experience and made it into a film. And when she first watched it, all she could say was like, that's me on the screen, that's me." So she definitely loved it. She loves being the star. So
Yeah.
anything for my mom.
Is there going to be a sequel? I'm only joking.
Off to a different country this time.
Yeah. Your mum's like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So just a couple of questions about film in general, and I'll come back to this one. Do you have favorite films in general? Do you have films that perhaps influenced the way you wanted this to look? Was this like, oh, I want to emulate that type of filmmaker? So what were your inspirations, and what are some of your favorite films regardless?
Oh, well, thing is, my favorite films tend to be like fantasy films. I tend to love to escape reality. So I guess this film's quite the opposite. It was very much rooted in reality. Something that I wanted to face. It was an experience that I wanted to tackle and unpack with my mum because I felt like in a way this film was almost like a love letter of like, thank you for letting me experience something different. But yeah, I tend to go for more fantasy. For this film in particular, I was inspired by Lady Bird. That opening shot was heavily inspired by a shot. Sorry, I hope you can hear me. By a shot that was in that film. But yeah, very inspired by the types of films like slow cinema. I kind of wanted us to sit with the character, and endure, I guess, her loneliness, her isolation. Um,
Mm.
yeah, that was kind of inspirations.
Something else I picked up as well was it's sort of two things really. The end scene that there was almost like you realise there's a light on, and you see her recover slightly. And but generally the color palette throughout was that deliberate, and then was the light on at the end to sort of signify her coming to terms with it to some extent, or going for that first stage of grief.
Absolutely. So the color palette was definitely intentional. It started off with it was quite soft in the beginning. I wanted to have some warmer tones when Robin, which is the daughter, was with the mother. Her name is Donna. You never really find her name out, but I kind of wanted it to be like, a mother's experience rather than her own. But then quite clearly when Robin leaves, it's very blue, it's very cold, and the juxtaposition of the first shot versus the shot of her alone in her own bed, which was a lot more cooler in tone, was very intentional. And that last shot that you were discussing, I wanted it to reflect the very opening shot. So whereas Donna and Robin were looking at each other, the last shot represents Donna looking at herself and
Yeah.
realizing that she's more than just a mother. She can be whoever she wants to be. She can be someone else. In the sense of letting who she is outside of that identity that she's been for 18 plus years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like that a lot. When the phone rang, actually, I thought, "Oh, I'm calling." I thought that was a bit weird because I'm Robin, aren't I?
Hmm.
But yeah, the casting. Just this is my last question for now. Casting wise, how did you cast the two leads?
So the daughter's actually one of my friends who was very happy to help out. I was so grateful for her for doing this for me. But it was a little bit harder to cast Tammy, who plays the mother. I really definitely wanted to find someone who fit the age category. I didn't want to cast a student who pretended to be someone older because that just wouldn't have portrayed very well on the film. So that was just a lot of setting out casting calls. I actually ended up meeting Tammy on Facebook, ended up having a meeting with her and discussing my intentions for the character, how she perceived the character, and that's how I ended up casting her for the main role.
Yeah. Well, it's a lovely little film. Are you around later for the second one? I don't know
Yes,
if
I will be.
yeah, so I'm going to save some questions for that, you see. But yeah, but you've answered my main questions, and obviously, congratulations on two things really. One, on the film itself. So glad you submitted it to us. But secondly, you were like the first of all the registrations. You were the first one to fill up where we had to close it. So I don't know how you must have like promoted it internally, or you just got a really good PR person. But yeah, we got a lot of people jumping on to watch this.
I think I just have a very strong uh base in terms of family and friends. So I'm just really grateful that they even wanted to watch the film.
Yeah, so you're probably the most supported filmmaker of the festival. Should I
That's
say?
great. That's so nice to
Yeah,
hear.
but it's really good that people have shown up and stuff because I've had a few people that obviously always sometimes forget, but or whatever, but they have plans. But yeah, they've showed up today, and it's nice to see you finally. I know we've been trying to arrange a chat, but yeah, I'll definitely be around later. But if you want to stick around and watch some of the other films, it'd be lovely to have you anyway. But thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Uh, Kleidi, is, is this your fault, all these people? It's outside again, look. That's so funny.
In true Kleidi fashion, I've managed to get myself stuck on a train for my own screening, so it's perfect.
Right. It's 16. I'm gonna stick it on. That's that. I was all just watching you on the train, Clyde. So I think we'll put the film on. So, Clyde, where are you going? Are you able to talk, or are you off
I'm
to a
going to
premiere?
attempt to do this at the next train station. Hopefully, it's not too loud.
No, you're okay. No, you're all right. So if anyone's got any questions for Kleidi or about the film or any comments you want to make, you can either take your mic off and ask away or type it in the chat and we'll make sure we ask her. You get a lot of applause anyway. Very nice, sweet little film, that one. But if you can see the comments, I did so Kleidi. So I'm going to just read them out. Um, well done, amazing work. And Shuila, love the archive footage at the end. Yeah, I love that as well. That was really sweet. Like based on a true story stuff. Like when you're at the end of a film and you see that and you see the real person, it's like, oh wow, yeah, amazing. Yeah, just as amazing film, Clyde. Was the archive footage at the end of you and your actual mum?
Yeah, that was me and my actual mom.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be a nice, touching end to the film, kind of like an homage to my mum, like a thank you. So I thought it'd be, nice to get in that clip there.
yeah, it's perfect. You haven't changed a bit.
Mum
Uh,
like loved it. Like she started crying when she saw it. So I thought it was just
yeah,
kiss.
that's good. Yeah, lots of applause. Bravo, bravo, Clyde from Mariana as well. Yeah, very popular. A lot of people in today. You must have got a lot of celebrity friends.
No, I'm so grateful to have such a supporting, group of friends and family.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the artwork on the wall at the end there. Was that all your artwork, or was it just random bits from different people?
I actually got it was one of the crews. One of the crew was an artist, so I got him to do some work for me. So sorry,
Yeah.
it's so loud.
It's okay. We can't hear. Actually, we can only hear you. It's actually worked out.
Oh, good. Okay. But yeah, I got him to do some Robin artwork because I think it was important for me for her name to kind of signify, flying away, leaving the nest.
Yeah,
And Robin just kind of spoke to me, so I thought it'd be nice to have some artwork on the walls. But that
it's a
was a
good.
crew member that did
It was a
that. Yeah,
nice touch. Yeah.
thank you.
Lauren said we need a sequel based on your perspective.
Ah! Oh, you know what? It's interesting because I said this the last time as well, but my experience of me moving away to Australia was like the best year of my life, and then my mother's obviously was a little bit more difficult. So
Yeah.
it would be completely different. It would be very, very, I was very oblivious to the struggle that she was facing because no mother wants their child to know that they're suffering, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting perspective because we don't really see that a lot in any sort of film, do we? We get glimpses of it. We don't see a story wholly based on the other party. Well, you go off and do your thing. Well, what's how's she doing? We do. There was a film earlier in the. I mean, Holly might remember this. Well, the first, second day we had one about. It's called Mam, and it was about mothers, and there was a mother in that story on Saturday where she was just wandering around her son's room, picking up his clothes because she missed him because he'd gone away. So very similar to that. It reminded me of that. So yeah, yeah, really good. Okay, to ask you one more question before you go. You wrote this, didn't you? So I mean, the writing process. How did you sit and write this? Did you just do it in one session? Did you go sit in a cafe somewhere, a log cabin?
It was a really long process actually, and it was really hard because this was my final year project, and it had to be a certain number of pages. If I had it my way, it would have been much longer and it would have been way more specific. But I remember speaking to my professor and just realizing that I think I'd made it too specific to my own unique experience. I definitely threw in Australia in there, but it was too specific, too niche, too close to the actual conversations that we'd had. Um, Basically, before I ended up going on my year abroad, I'd mentioned it to my mum, and she was very much opposed to the idea, wasn't very comfortable with it. And that was in the original script. But I thought it would be more powerful to kind of see that, to not see it straight away that she was so opposed to it. I really wanted her to be accepting of it. And, you could see in her face in the second clip where she's packing the suitcase that she wants to be supportive of her daughter. She wants her to, spread her wings and fly and do all these amazing adventures, but is also like containing the fact that she's, struggling to keep it in, and then she,
Yeah,
letting her only daughter like leave the house and then knowing that she'll be alone. that it's an internal struggle that we don't necessarily see. So that's what I cut out of the original script. I wanted that to be an emotional process that you saw like on the actor's face, which I thought she did an amazing job
You
doing.
did, and you kind of covered it all because she's packing it and she's like saying, "Oh, you really are going then." So there's almost that parent denial thing that we all go through. Some quick questions here. One from Jasmine: are there any hidden gems or intentional decisions made that you'd like to explain further? It's quite a good question, that.
Oh, that's really good. I mentioned this in the last time we spoke about the first clip mirroring the last one. So if you guys remember in the opening shot, it was the mother facing the daughter in bed, and then the last clip was the mother facing herself in the mirror. And in
Yeah.
that way, I kind of wanted to leave the ending kind of ambiguous. You don't know if she hasn't necessarily resolved the problem. Her daughter hasn't come back yet, which she did in the original script, which I cut out.
Mm.
But in that sense, it's like she's looking at herself in the mirror. Something has definitely changed. We don't necessarily know what's changed, if it's for the best, if she's still struggling, but that's the kind of thing I wanted to be mirrored, if that made sense. So kind of
Yeah.
closing in that film that she held on to her daughter, but now she's holding on to herself.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like until your kids fly the nest, you're looking at your kids, and then she's almost forgotten herself. And so it makes sense if I'm going to go super deep, and then she's got still got herself. She's not alone, so to speak. Yeah, I totally get that.
And
That
one
was
more
really
fun
good.
one that I'm pretty sure most people would have noticed, but not everyone would have. The scene in the kitchen when she, is putting down two plates rather than one, and she puts down two cups and she realizes she set the table for two when there isn't two anymore. I thought
Yeah,
that was something that I really wanted to portray. That's like natural habit, When you live with someone for so long, it becomes a habit that you have to kind of, you know, break, I
yeah.
guess.
Those two
Yeah,
plates as well. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Miranda says the scene when Mama blew out the candle made them very emotional. Yeah, that was quite emotional. And
Yeah, it's
Tammy's
just quite sad,
yeah.
isn't it? It's just you never want to
It
see your
is.
mom just blowing her own, birthday candle.
But
So
it's just a little journey we have to leave. It's not like you're grieving or anything. It is something that all parents have to do. And I'm sure you had your moments when you were aware that you missed her.
my mom was quite lucky. I actually was there for her birthday because I I left around July when it was actually her birthday. So I was there for it. So
Okay.
don't worry, I didn't leave her completely alone.
No, it's good. Uh, Shall we mention Clyde's the most beautiful baby? And there you go. That's nice, isn't it? Tammy, I don't know if it's the same Tammy, is it? Clyde was really detailed in what she wanted. Great to work with. Well, there you go.
Oh, that's so nice. It's always so nice to hear. Hi, Tommy.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time anyway, but because there's another film coming up. But it's been a pleasure talking to you again. And I know you're obviously busy. You're off to a world premiere or something. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah, it's really nice that you could speak to us anyway. And obviously, a lot of your people have turned up, so that's really great. So yeah, well played on a lovely little
Thank you so
film.
much for having me. And thank you everyone for coming. Really means the world to me, honestly.
Superb. Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much, Robin.